It's time to get all set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics with your hosts, Scott Williams and Jeff Traylor. When I hear the coffee brewing, I think, what the heck we doing? Because I got barely any sleep last night. As the diaper bag I pack with Hot Wheels dollies and some snacks, I say a prayer there'll be a seat in the crime room this time. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.
Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass. My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor. How are you, Jeff?
I'm great. How are you, Scott?
I am just wonderful.
Yeah,
You moved into a new house.
I did.
And you were mentioning earlier that you couldn't find certain things at certain times. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I have no idea where anything in my house is right now,
Including your undershirts?
Yeah, my a little chesty here. Sorry. Yeah, no, in laundry, like we got a new laundry machine, a new washer and dryer, and then the washer did not work, and so
really?
We're like,
It's
hey,
like broken?
Yeah, it like didn't. Well, it's broken enough. Yeah, it won't like drain, and it's broken enough that I bought a brand new one, and I was like, bring me another.
Yeah.
And they were like, cool, we'll do that in 10 days.
Not cool.
And I was like, but I already paid for this. And they were like, yeah, we don't care. That's when you get your new one. So we had to go to the laundromat as a family last night, which is like, I remember going to the laundromat and like, that was good. And it was a good experience, I think, for the kids. But yeah, we've all been multiple weeks without laundry. So it was like, we were using 9 washers and 11 dryers.
You should send them an invoice.
That's what my wife said, but I don't think Home Depot is going to. Yeah, I put your name out there, Home Depot.
This isn't even sponsored by them.
Yeah. But
Yeah, send us that money, Home Depot. No laundry. I'm glad we're doing this via Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Father Andy Syberg, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
the summer rector.
Yeah.
T-shirt, zip up. Did I see you have shorts on? What a world.
Yes, I do have shorts.
Yeah.
And they've been laundered.
And they've been laundered. That's good. Do you do your own laundry, Father, or do you have somebody who does it for you?
No, I do my own laundry. We have a washer and dryer in my apartment.
You don't make the assistant rectors do your laundry for you? That'd be great.
No, I don't think so.
But he's getting some ideas.
Yeah, I think you should make Father Peter and Father McCarthy do your laundry.
Get for work, as it's.
That'd go over really well. Can we watch that? Can we just film it? That'd be great.
Yeah. That's the next All Set for Sunday podcast is watching them wash my clothes.
Father Peter would just send them out with his own clothes that he sends out to be laundered.
Good times.
Yeah.
It's very quiet around here right now until next week when Brute Days and Eucharistic Congress. So it's the quiet before the storm.
I've heard about that.
The Eucharistic Congress?
Yeah.
We should go.
I'm interested.
All right. We'll be there.
Let's do it. Let's just commit to it right now.
Let's commit. Okay, right now. I'll make the commitment.
No,
we're joking.
Plug.
We're joking. We currently in our building have 91,600 items with Eucharistic Congress logos or designs printed on them. I did the math earlier. Yeah, we are lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
How's Brute Days? What's that?
That's when high school youth from around the diocese come to Brute for 4 days. There's going to be talks and all sorts of activities. I think they're doing a pilgrimage day and just hanging out and living in the building for the week.
Nice. Like a come and see kind of thing?
Not as...
It's like a formalized program, right? Like it's a week-long like camp retreat type program.
It's nothing but running around and shenanigans.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And then a little bit of like, but hey, you want to be a priest?
Oh yeah, yeah. We had
Yes.
actually quite a few guys that come to us because through their
Yeah.
through birthday days.
That makes sense.
Oh, really?
No.
Is there like a thing when you sign up for seminary, but like, how did you hear about us? And
Instagram,
Brute
Facebook,
Day, Brute Days.
Instagram, yeah.
Google
Yeah.
Ads, Brute Days, my pastor.
If someone said I'm coming to the seminary because I heard about you on Instagram, I'd be like, pack your stuff and get it.
Y'all need a Brute Instagram if you don't already have one. Oh, you should.
I think we have the Facebook, but I don't know
The
about
Facebook. You need one, but also you need to like be actively using it. Your seminarians are hysterical and they're ridiculous, and you talk about it all the time. You should just be posting that and sharing it. Be an attractive thing for people considering priesthood and seminary.
I'm not a smart, or I'm not smart. Yes. What do they call it? Social media? I'm not very well versed in that stuff.
Yeah, but your seminarians are.
You don't have to be. Yeah.
That should just be like one of your seniors' jobs. Who's assigned that?
We do have a tech guy.
There you go.
But yeah.
My experience of the past has been that the tech guy is not always the social media guy.
No. He usually prefers to be in dark closets and not talk to people.
What?
Never mind.
Tech guys.
Oh, I like tech guys. I just called a tech guy earlier to teach me how to use the Google Calendar. Can't get it to work.
Zoom.
You're this stuff. I mean,
you're like you're rapidly aging. This is wild.
People think to talk to me about this stuff like I'm like a smart Labrador or something. Like, that's my ceiling. I'm a moron.
I love that you said smart Labrador. Like I'll give myself a little credit. Yeah. Oh man.
Ready for the 2-minute drill?
Yeah, that was a lot of banter.
Yeah, that was good.
Sorry, Father Christian.
That was a lot of banter.
You should clap again for Father Christian. Check the spike in the audio.
Yep.
All right. It is the 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Our first reading comes from Ezekiel, chapter 2, 2-5. So the Spirit enters Ezekiel, sets him on his feet, and empowers him to hear God's voice. God sends Ezekiel to the Israelites, a rebellious nation that has turned against him. And Ezekiel is to speak God's words. Whether they listen or not, he's got to share the words. And the people, when he gets there, because he'll speak their words, the people will know that a prophet has been among them. Whatever their response is, God will make sure that they know that Ezekiel is the prophet who has been there speaking to them. Our responsorial psalm, our eyes are fixed on the Lord, pleading for his mercy. I'm going to go mumbler.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Definitely
a lot
not
of
a banger.
words. No. You get a lot of words, a comment in there. Like, you're really stretching that thing out. So we have no banger here.
I already forgot it.
You always, our eyes are fixed. Mercy.
Pleading.
Pleading. Yes. Our second reading then comes from Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12. Paul describes a thorn in the flesh given to him that helps keep him humble and reliant on God's grace. He pleads with the Lord to remove it, but God tells him that his grace is sufficient and his power is made perfect in his weakness. So Paul embraces that weakness, embraces the insults, hardships, persecutions, and difficulties, and takes that all on as for Christ's sake. And he concludes that when he is weak, then he is strong, and he finds strength in his resilience on God's power.
That should go on a Tervis tumbler.
A Tervis tumbler? No pillows anymore. Tervis tumbler.
Yeah.
You introducing
like those little cups?
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. No free ads though. Tervis.
Yeah.
That should go on a whatever tumbler, a Catholic Concepts tumbler.
Mm-hmm.
And then our gospel reading. Our gospel comes from Mark chapter 6, 1-6. Jesus departed from there, came to his native place, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astonished. They said, "Where did this man get all of this? What kind of wisdom has been given to him? What mighty deeds are wrought by his hands? Is he not the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph, and Judas and Simon? Are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his native place, and among his own kin, and in his own house." So he was not able to perform any of the mighty deeds there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying hands on them. And he was amazed at their lack of faith.
All right.
Father, you know we're recording video too. Right now it's just like of your inner ear canal.
We're doing video too, like this is being posted on video.
Yeah, we do that every time. It goes
Well,
on
not me
YouTube.
the last few times.
No,
It was just a
because
black
the
screen.
yeah,
It was
and us.
good content.
I don't know why that tickled me, but it did. I didn't know that this. Look at you guys coming up in the world, video and audio.
We've been doing this for quite a while, Father.
Well, I'm happy for you.
But you have functional Zoom now, and that makes it better.
Yeah. Well, did Jeff get anything wrong in his analysis?
No.
Nope.
No.
Were you listening?
Yeah, I sure was. I'm trying to put myself in the mind of those busy parents. Like,
Yeah.
get a little bit, and
You get
what
requests for $100 gift card if you find something that Jeff got wrong.
Oh, that's what we should start doing, offering rewards.
Registering for
Registered for, yes.
Yeah.
I'll start hiding heresies in my reflection. In my
No, don't do.
Did Jeff get anything wrong? Nope. Liar.
That's the thing. You're gonna miss it. I don't need that in my life. Anyways, it was a fantastic 2-minute drill.
What are you preaching on this weekend? Where are you at?
I'm actually nowhere this weekend.
Okay.
As soon as Jeff moved in across the street from Francis and Claire, I got the heck out of Dash.
That's kind of you.
That actually literally happened too. I mean, we were like shits in the night on the south side.
So are you not at Francis and Claire anymore?
No.
No, because they picked up an associate. Where are you guys now? Or where are you?
I'm here. And then Father Peter Marshall will stay at Jude, and Father Ryan Curley will stay at Holy Rosary.
So are you kind of like free agent weekends? They're just going to be sending you out?
No, I will be here.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, I guess you got Mass to celebrate with the boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this weekend, you're not preaching anywhere?
No, I'll probably say Mass in the empty chapel, or I'll preach to the heavenly host. This is what I'll do.
There you go. Well, hypothetically, if you were
this is amazing content for a podcast.
Hypothetically, if you were at a parish this weekend, what would you preach about?
Boy, it's hard to pass on the second reading from St. Paul. This is also one of those kinds of collection of scriptures where a little bit of historical context, I think, could be helpful. Because Ezekiel, like, this is the time of the exile, and he's kind of giving it to the Israelites, but he's also like a preacher of hope that God will remain faithful in the time of trials. And so there's like a good build up to that, to St. Paul. And I mean, but the thorn in the flesh, I mean, anybody here not had some of those?
Nope.
I mean, not an actual one.
None at all.
Not an actual one. I got a little sciatica I'm dealing with right now, but other than that.
Sciatica is the word.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, that is not pleasant. But then we do like, Lord, take us away. Think, no. My grace is all you need. In other words, maybe you should depend on me. And then you jump to the gospel. What happens? No miracles. Why? No faith. We expect too little from God.
I do think it's funny that they're like, there were no miracles. Well, except for a few people that he healed by laying hands on them. But like, but other than that, yeah.
No big ones.
No. I mean, there's obviously this like rolling theme between these three readings of like, preach the word and say the thing, but there are times where people like, even if it doesn't feel like they're listening, you still have to do it. You still need to put this out there. And even if you have that burden, and it's always been a reading that I've been called back to, this gospel reading where like the whole concept of like a preacher cannot preach in his hometown. And you know, that you know, Jesus goes home and the people are like, I'm curious to hear from you, Father, like you grew up at Our Lady of the Greenwood, correct?
Mhm.
So like when you were first ordained and you went back there, did you ever feel like, did you ever feel that like you were up there preaching and then afterwards it was like more pats on the head and like, hey, we're just really glad that you're here. And like, I don't know. I've always wondered that about priests when you go, like, especially right after you're ordained. This would have been a good one to ask Father Roscoe about last week.
Mhm.
But
Like going
like,
back to your home parish.
yeah, when you go back to your home parish, are you still like the little kid who, you know, they all saw growing up, or do you get, you know, do you
Yeah,
feel like,
I think people see that. I've certainly been back enough though to OLG and obviously Prince Sinclair, South Side. Tons of
Mhm.
people down there, but I mean, I do think people they just kind of get past that. It's just like, that's little Andy Syberg. I remember him in fifth grade, and it's just like, okay, but I certainly haven't experienced anything like, you know, oh, good for you. Nothing really like that.
yeah,
But I don't know that uh, you don't typically send guys to their home parish. Uh, and certainly not on the first time.
yeah. Yeah, and I would imagine as somebody gets older, it's a little different, but it's more of the like fresh out of seminary when you're, you know,
Yeah.
if somebody's
Yeah.
back and celebrating. Yeah.
Just get past it. But still have a hard time. It's like, well, I'm an adult now, so
Yeah. Okay, jumping back into the readings here. You mentioned like the thorn in the side. Can you double click on that a little bit and share a little more about what you're thinking about?
so if it pleases the Lord, so the permissive will of the Lord will sometimes allow us to be uh tested, and we get this thorn in the flesh, and that Saint Paul asks multiple times, like, you got to take care of this, you got to take care of this, you got to take care of this. Um, that God is saying, my grace is all you need. I mean, and that really is pulling you out of yourself. And it's just like, maybe you're trying to control a little too much. And if this thorn in the flesh is purifying you, if it's humbling you, if it's making you more dependent on the Lord, that is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like ever. It
So
just takes a lot of faith to be able to be like, okay, Lord, I have to trust you on this. I would prefer not to have this.
how do you get from okay, what feels like might be that thorn or life spinning out of control or whatever it might be, whatever that affliction is, to surrendering to God, your grace is enough? How do you get from point A to point B in 2024?
Oh gosh, I just kidding. I think it takes most of us, I think, a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's a long surrender to kind of hand these things over to the Lord. And but that's also something I think that people should ask for in prayer. Like, so we can say, like, okay, surrender your will, trust in the Lord. I hate to put, they're like almost like catchphrases or cliches in the Catholic world. Like, we all know, we've all heard them,
Mhm.
but obviously they're much more serious than that. And to say, like, Lord, I know what I'm supposed to do. My heart is in it right now. And to plant that desire in me to just receive more of whatever it is that you have for me.
Mm.
And that's a depth. To say there's what I want versus, what God is permitting. And, 2024, we ain't so good at dying and dying to ourselves. In fact, we're rather wretched. It was, at least I,
Yeah, for sure.
I think this, so it's one thing when we talk like a thorn in the side, that's a painful thing, the concept and like that metaphor, right? Of a thorn, like a thorn in the side. But I think this immediately draws us into this idea and the concept of like suffering we experience, and why would God allow this suffering, and why would he allow us to suffer like this? And so, and that's where my mind goes here, is like, how do you make that leap from like this, like a heartache or sorrow, or this like a pain and suffering, to extreme suffering and loss of someone? And like, how do you say, how do you explain to somebody when you say, well, God's grace is enough? And like, yes, you're suffering. Yes, you've had this experience. And, and we know that evil and suffering is not the will of God. That's the result of sin in our world. But the idea that, like, I don't know, the cliche of, well, why would God not take this away if he could, type thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the question, right? Why does a good God permit suffering? And we can look at the scriptures and look at the crucifixion. Out of the crucifixion of Christ comes Calvary, or comes resurrection. And there are a lot of people who, in terms of people who don't believe in the Lord, that's a big thing for them, is the presence of suffering. And there is no like easy answer to that. Yeah.
But we do.
I mean, like, you're kind of asking one of the questions.
Yeah. No, I knew I was like trying to resist asking it, but I feel like it fits with this idea of like, but we know that like part of that answer is yes, but look to the grace that you are given, right? Look at where God is giving you this grace and how he's allowing you to grow through this suffering and that gift. But that's like an easy thing to say and a much harder thing to like actually walk somebody to.
There's also the possibility that the answers that you're looking for will not be found on this side of eternity.
Yeah.
There is knowledge of things that is not given to us to know or understand. There is a divine knowledge, divine synthesis of all things that, again, is beyond us, but it's, you look, going back to Ezekiel, going back even to the Garden of Eden, where God first starts making promises. God is always, his word is good. Like, he always keeps his word because he is his word, but God has the good track record. But there is just that sort of dying to my own intellect, my own desires, my own will, my own understanding. I think that can be a hard thing for the modern mind. I need to see it. I need to test it. I need to observe it. Let's get some data together, present a hypothesis, get an answer, whatever. And it's just like, you're trying to tap into something that is not going to be penetrated, by science or anything like that. It's just, can you die to yourself? It's like, I don't know. That in itself can be a really hard death.
Yeah. Something that I keep thinking in this realm too is like the sense of community. And Jeff, you and I have both suffered losses in our lives, but I think a big part of being able to go through that healing process and like recognizing God's grace is the sense of community that comes around that, and being supported by the people around you. Father, can you speak into a little bit of like how community, friendships, and the faith community kind of build into all of this as well?
Oh yeah, the community, the Lord, one, loves working through secondary causes and using, like, he uses prophets, right, to kind of straighten out the chosen people, like that he would use your friends, your family as part of your community. It's absolutely vital. I mean, it's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. The Trinity is a community, right? And it's that image that, that comes down to us, like, and what do we get in Genesis? It is not good for man to be alone. That's what the enemy wants. Let's separate, let's divide, let's isolate, because you're much easier to kind of assault and attack and discourage, kind of push you towards anxiety. But to have this community around you is just like, Like, oh, no.
Yeah, I
You
feel
don't
like
need to believe that. That's discouragement. That's the enemy. No. That's just much harder when we're on our own.
yeah, I feel like that's part of what's expected though. Like I feel like there's an expectation of suffering should happen in isolation and like there's shame around it or something like that. But like in reality, pain, suffering, and healing should and can be done in community with one another. I don't know.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, if the stories of like Jesus' healing of suffering teach us anything, it's that it is best when it is public.
Mhm.
It is best when it's always right. You hear it's the person who cries out in the crowd. It's the person who, like, the community is filling their house and Jesus comes to heal them, right? It is those public displays. And I think you're right. Like as you like talk about it, it's a crazy thing to like even say as we talk about this, but like when I lost my mom, like I know I am a better person today because of the healing that has come out of that
Mhm.
that experience, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? Like I would give all that up,
Right.
but I do believe that God gave a grace to me and my family and my children and everybody else because of that. And like I feel that grace. I have experienced that grace and I continue to. So it's like as I'm like processing this and we're all like talking about it, like I can honestly say that. I can, not just for content, like that'd be good content too, but yeah.
All about the content today.
But I can honestly say that, and that would be the deepest desire that my mother would ever have for me, right?
Right.
Is to experience more fullness of God's grace, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. But I think it's sorry, like tying these in, we talk about this community and stuff, but then it's interesting because in that community piece, we also see in the gospel this idea that like, but then so many times, like within our own community, is where we have to fight the hardest, right? Like where the preacher can't be heard and understood, right? Where I mean, you and I talk about it all the time with like we're so proud of this company that we're working in and stuff, but sometimes it's like the local people who I've known all my life who are like, "Oh, you're still doing that sock thing? Is that still happening? Is that like?" And like they don't know, and like they don't know any different, but it is like sometimes it is hard to like break through that. I have a good friend who was a motivational speaker for years, would speak all over the country and like had an incredibly successful like business doing this. And he couldn't get our own high school that we graduated from to let him speak because they were like, well, you're just Ryan,
Yeah.
right? Like that's okay. Like and he's like trying to do this as like a gift of charity. He knows that he's good at this thing, but in Indianapolis, where he was from, he would have the hardest time getting into these schools.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's always, I feel like I notice those experiences more, but it's interesting because we talk about community and like there's the community around us and that we're around, and then there's the community that becomes our support and in our system and that we can heal with and grow with and learn with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's also something too that when one member of the body suffers, all members suffer. And when one member rejoices, all members rejoice. Like the power community is really important. And again, to be careful about also having that total, dependence on the Lord. The Lord may work in my community, but even then, my dependence is totally on the Lord because the enemy cowers everywhere. And we hear Jesus talking about like families will be separated, right? There'll be division amongst the family because the enemy cowers everywhere. And so our closest relationships, like, of course, the devil's going to go after those. Of course, he's going to try to attack those and sow division and all of these things. And so praying for our communities and praying for the people who are closest to us, that's also like a very practical thing that we can do and that we should do. And telling the people that we love them, all the time is a good thing. And just very sort of practical things because look at it, suffering is going to come. Pain is going to come. This life because of the fall, it is inevitable. one of the inevitable outcomes of fallen human nature, but the grace of God can help you keep. It doesn't have to overcome you. It doesn't have to be the one thing about you. I think that happens a lot where just the suffering becomes one of the sole identifiers about who we are. It's just like that doesn't have to be everything about you. If you try to answer suffering with your own answer, it can get a little dangerous.
Yeah. And we can't let that suffering define who we are. We have to be defined by the grace that God gives us instead.
By the love of Jesus Christ. And the suffering, it's a part of us, right? It's a part of who we are. The most recognizable symbol in our faith is a suffering Christ, right?
Right.
But we are people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You ready for some dumb questions?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Have
What you
we?
got?
So we talked a little bit about it at the beginning. Father Andy, you're now officially, is today or is tomorrow your official first day?
My official first day was May 31st.
Oh, that's right. You got started early.
Yeah.
You are now the rector of Bishop Simon Brute Seminary.
Mm-hmm.
But as of tomorrow, you have 2 new vice rectors, right? Father Ryan McCarthy. Oh, sorry.
Well, they also technically started on May 31st.
Oh, wow.
A vice rector and Father Peter Marshall, and the director of spiritual formation, and Father Ryan McCarthy.
That's great. And 2 friends of ours. In fact, we may believe ourselves to be kingmakers a bit, because it seems like every guest we have on this podcast has gotten some sort of new, or we're providing burdens for priests, because it's not like they've gotten less to do. They've all just taken on more responsibility. But
A thorn.
Let's go with the former.
maybe we're the thorn. Yes, we are the thorn. No, but anyway, like it's summertime around the seminary. You were talking about you've got Brute Days coming up and the Eucharistic Congress. What are you? Do you have some official things with the seminarians you guys are doing with the Eucharistic Congress, or are you just planning on helping out there?
Oh, we're going to work the seminarians like borrowing mules during Brute Days and the Congress.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Congress we're probably not going to see anything like this in our lifetime again, or at least not in our backyard. So I want them to be able to experience some of that. But yeah, they're going to be working for sure.
Good. Do you guys have people coming in to stay at the seminary? Are you housing people too?
We are packed to the gills for the next 2 weeks.
That's awesome. I mean, that's exciting. Awesome. Yeah, I know you enjoy. I'm sure, like it. I remember when I was teaching, like the end of the school year would hit, and like you were like kind of ready for a little break. But about a week into just quiet hallways, like when that's what you're used to, I was like, okay, I need people back here. Like I just need the hum and the,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to them coming back. I was said the moment I dread them coming back is probably the moment I need to move on.
Yeah. Good call.
I haven't gotten there yet.
We've only had the job for like a month. So
yeah. So just it's a little thorn. Just right here. There's an area right there. That flesh. Right on the ribs.
All right. Dumb question. Now, I just wanted to talk about that and just in Brute, but now we'll move on to actual dumb questions. Okay. Hypothetical for you here. You're traveling with a group. You need to celebrate Mass. You have 0 Mass supplies available to you. No hosts, no nothing. But you need to celebrate Mass. What do you do? Like, what do you do for, like, the form of, like, what exists in the world that you can replace hosts with, like unconsecrated hosts? Like, where you go to the grocery store, you got to find something to use. What are you doing?
We're going to have to go. If I can find a grocery store, I can probably find a church. But I understand your point. But yeah, no, I'll be like, Lord, sorry. We ain't got no Wonder Bread out there. So,
We
It's a
can't.
different-
Wonder Bread's leavened, so you can't do that. I'm genuinely curious about this. Like I was recently, like, somebody was sharing an experience where they were out and about and like they couldn't figure out, they were like, they needed to celebrate mass. They had a priest with them. They had none of their supplies with them, and they were talking creative solutions. And so I was just trying to, like, is there a thing? Is there a way you can do this and pull it off?
Not that I'm aware of. I think wine would be an easier. The wine would be easier percentage of alcohol.
But you can't celebrate. You couldn't celebrate the mass with just wine, right?
No,
No.
you can't.
So what's a better choice in that scenario? Just not have mass, period, or celebrate
If
illicit?
you cannot attain the proper matter for mass, you can't have mass. You wouldn't be having it.
Got it.
Yeah, form and matter.
So
matters,
prayer service it is.
I suppose. I mean, if it's a weekday, you're okay. I mean, obviously, if it's a Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday mass. That's the scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be in trouble.
Okay. Anyway, that was my dumb question. I just in this conversation we started saying, I was like, there's got to be something. Like, do you go try to like make unleavened bread? Do you?
I wouldn't know.
No? Like, you should figure this out. Well, I mean, you live in a seminary, so like I don't think you're.
Yeah, we're
Falling.
good. And I, live in the middle of Indianapolis.
Yeah. It just it made me start wondering about like extreme parts of the world and places and like where, like you said, my immediate thought was like, there isn't that many places, I think, in the United States where you're that far from a church.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what the longest distance, continental United States, you can be from a Catholic church is.
That'd be a fun trivia.
That's a great question. That's a great, Father, that's your
I bet a
question.
seminarian could figure that out.
Yeah. Can you put the seminarians on this? That's got to be documented somewhere.
The farthest distance between two churches.
Not distance between two churches, the farthest you can be from any, let's call it tabernacle. Like, what is the furthest distance a person in the United States, like where is the spot where you are the furthest from a tabernacle that you can be? Do you think it's like an hour? 2 hours?
My guess is that Alaska.
Continental United States. I already said that. Thank you for listening. But
Alaska is the United States. I don't care if it's continental, all that jive. Get out of here.
all that jive. I would also guess Alaska, but I'm thinking like, okay.
I do wonder though, like, so tabernacle is one thing, but to have a priest on a Sunday mass is a different thing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like,
because
okay,
there's probably a church with a tabernacle that doesn't have mass every Sunday.
well, I'm thinking if you've got a priest and you have to get mass supplies, that's where like I'm in that scenario.
You're like, where's the closest sacristy?
Yeah, where can I find hosts? Like unconsecrated hosts, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there's some hour plus drives out there for sure.
Like up in like the north, right? Like you're.
I was thinking the UP would probably be a significant drive.
You start getting up to like Wyoming and the Dakotas.
That's what I'm thinking.
Montana.
Yeah.
There ain't much up there.
Or maybe it's like the Bible Belt, right? Like lots of Baptist churches, but way harder to find. Because I mean, you get down into like what Arkansas is all one diocese, right? Like you get into some of those states where like it's much more spread out. Anyway, all right. This is good. I don't know that I had a question.
They might still have those like communion wafers, which could be consecrated, I assume.
That's a good point. And little cups of grape juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the bread would still work, right? The grape juice.
You gotta have both. You gotta have both.
I know. But like if you have
wine anywhere, right?
I mean, you're gonna have a bottle of wine on you.
It's a random bottle of wine.
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate thing to find yourself needing Sunday mass and you don't have the supplies.
I know.
I'm assuming that was just an oversight or something.
Yeah, I mean it's an extreme situation. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to air dirty.
Yes, that's purely accidental.
Yeah,
I don't know that I would. I wouldn't cross the person for it.
All right, last question. What's the thing What are you doing for yourself this summer? Father Andy's self-care. What are you doing? You got any trips planned or any fun little things that you're doing?
I was at Lake Monroe a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
That was
with
for the
some
priest
pretty-
convocation, wasn't it?
This was before.
Okay.
It's a golf vacation I take with some priests, and one of them knew someone who had a house on Monroe. There are not very many houses on Monroe.
Oh no. So they know somebody with lots of money.
One of
So-
those houses is what's his name?
John Mellencamp.
John
John
Cougar
Mellon. Is it
Mellencamp.
him?
Is that whose house you stayed at?
It was not the Cougars.
Father Andy Cougar?
Father Andy Cougar Mellencamp Syberg. So no, that was very awesome. Like then straight view, sunset every night. Went out every day, played golf, got on the water, the boat.
That's
That
fun.
sounds awesome.
That was very awesome, very relaxed. And then we had priest convocation. So because of the pro duty year now, June is now kind of the month to
Rope a dude.
Propadudes. Now that Father Peter is chief propadude. Oh,
Just turned off the camera.
No, I was making a face because now you're visual as well, the visual podcast.
That's what
All
they
right.
call it.
that's all I
the
got.
lingo, right? That's what they call it, the visual
Yep.
podcast.
Visual podcast, I think that's what the kids call
Yeah,
it.
they
these
call
days.
it. Actually, they say VizPod.
The Viz PC. That's what it is.
All right. Well, Father, thank you so much for joining us once again. Always a joy.
Yes. Yes.
Take care. Bye
You know,
bye.
maybe
Bye.
we should do a joint, me and Father Marshall.
We could do well. We've been talking to you about doing the live pod at the seminary. Now we can come with 3 guests.
Yeah.
We'll record one with all 3 and then independent episodes with every one of you.
Get a month ahead.
Yeah,
That actually, I think would be pretty fun.
it would be.
Having
then
all
each
of
of
us
you-
on there.
And then each of you will be responsible for dumb questions for the others. That will get
Woo!
entertaining.
Yes. But no, I'm pretty. I'm ready for them to get back. Like
I'm sure.
it's time.
Yeah.
The summers are getting shorter, but like I said, that's okay.
Yeah.
Me.
All right. I
I'd rather
think
be
we're going to
with you.
officially close the podcast
All right.
now. Bye bye.
Bye.
It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.